Guys, we are just 18 days away from the college football season kicking off for week 0, and fall camps are kicking into high gears. We're getting closer and closer to depth chart solidifying, players knowing their roles, and us helping us know who exactly we need to bet on for fantasy this year. Let's take a ride around the country and check out some of the new fall camp storylines. All right, so for today's episode, we're going to kind of be all over the place, guys. I'm not even going to lie to you. We're going to start, though, in the SEC in Kentucky, where possible future first round draft pick Will Levis has struggled to be consistent so far to kick off fall camp. Granted, he is working with a brand new room of wide receivers, possibly missing his star running back and Chris Rodriguez. We don't exactly know for sure if he's going to start the season or play. Things are not looking great so far, at least consistency-wise, for Kentucky. But Dane Key has continued to been extremely impressive. Transferred over this spring. Has transferred his spring over into fall and has looked really, really good. He continues to be a standout wide receiver for them. And Ramon Jefferson has been getting all the work at the ones as we are continuing to wait and see exactly what is going to happen with Chris Rodriguez. There is one other freshman that is really showing out, and it is not Barian Brown, someone that we are big fans of here at Campus Canton. It is freshman tight end Josh Caddis. Caddis has gotten a handful of reps as the starting tight end, and he has been really good in blocking on 11 on 11 drills, but it's actually been his hands that have turned heads in camp. Levis said, obviously not the biggest dude at the tight end position, but he's got a really good feel for the game, and he is extremely smart and physical, and he's got good hands. He has been really impressing at camp, and again, at a position where not even just like on the NFL side, on the college side, it feels like outside of a couple of elite options, it's some dart throws here and there. Freshman tight end Josh Caddis is really looking good here for the Kentucky Wildcats. Going over to Texas A&M, Haynes King has been continuing to get the first team reps along with Devin Achane, Chase Lane, and Evan Stewart. While Jimbo Fisher's not going to officially come out and say it this early, I really think we've kind of narrowed. Haynes King's going to be the guy to start game one. He was good in that first game last year and did look good in the second game before getting injured. Again, I really think they brought Max Johnson over because they wanted to get his brother, the 5-star tight end. I think Haynes King's going to be the guy that starts the year for the Aggies. Will he keep the job all season long? That's a different story. But he's continued to get reps with the ones. He's kind of been the guy, even all through spring, that was mostly getting the ones with the ones, or every first practice it was him with the ones. Then Max Johnson comes in. I think Haynes King is going to be the guy for the Aggies. And LJ Johnson has been splitting time with the twos with Amari Daniels. Now, Devin Achane, I think we all kind of expected to be the one with his explosiveness, what he can do catching the ball, but I really thought LJ Johnson was going to get a decent look here. He has been almost exclusively working with the twos. He did deal with an injury all through spring, but now back healthy in fall camp and has still been splitting time with Amari Daniels with the twos. That's not necessarily exciting or enticing to hear, but I still believe in the talent LJ Johnson has. But just take that as a little note for you that he has really not been doing a lot with the ones. Going over to Cincinnati, this one's going to be a tad bit disappointing. It really seems like Ben Bryant is starting to pull away with this job. He had a beautiful 40-yard touchdown bomb to Nick Mardner, followed by a really good shot to Chris Scott. And Tyler Scott. He has been really good at throwing the deep ball. And the biggest thing, apparently, for the Cincinnati Bearcats here is that Ben Bryant has been turnover free in the red zone. For Prater, he threw a pick six on Friday and apparently looked very indecisive here in the pocket, was a little bit slow to get the ball out of his hands, just seemed to have trouble reading the defenses. Though he did quickly bounce back, reports say later on in that practice. It really seems like, based on everything I'm reading, it's leaning more and more toward Ben Bryant. I don't know why, because he really was not that good last year, and I feel like Evan Prater is definitely the better quarterback. But take that for what it's worth. We talked a lot about this during the spring camp. Ben Bryant was getting a lot of positive buzz there, and Evan Prater was same thing. He was up and down, and Evan Prater was getting drafted much higher than Ben Bryant. It just looks like Bryant's probably going to be the guy to start the season. A few notes here for Nate's, a few notes here for Notre Dame. There is a little doubt, based on everything I'm reading, that Tobias Merriweather will have a significant role in the offense for the Fighting Irish this year. He has got nothing but positive buzz and rave reviews since coming to camp in June. He impressed again, but what has been most important is that there was a point where he actually messed up a couple routes and he actually took the coaching. He got chewed out. Coaches pulled him over to the sideline, talked to him, and he went out there and immediately fixed it. And they talked about like his positivity and the way he's handled everything in camp has been extremely good. Tobias Merriweather is getting all kinds of rave reviews. We know we all love Lorenzo Styles, and he's going to be the one. I feel like Tobias Merriweather may be the two. And the fact that they're continually hyping him up over all of the other wide receivers here for the Irish. Logan Diggs is still in a medical redshirt jersey and has not run any drills. And Eli Reardon, the freshman tight end, has been getting work with the ones. Now, I'm not expecting him to pass Michael Mayer or even steal work away from Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer is Michael Mayer, but Eli Reardon has been a guy that we've been talking a little bit about here and there at Campus to Canton and getting a little bit of positive buzz. I think he's a guy that you should bet on in the future, especially with the way, granted, this may have been more of a Brian Kelly thing, but the way Notre Dame has been able to develop tight ends, I think Eli Reardon is going to be the future of that. USC, Raleek Brown has looked really good and impressive running routes and catching the ball. Be very curious to see if this eventually means he will switch to the wide receiver room, as we've talked about before, going the Seven McGee route, because he does look a little bit too small to play running back. And I think the fact that they're continuing hyping up the fact that he's looked really good with his hands and been really good receiving wise, that he's going to be an intriguing fit in this offense. And if he does move to wide receiver, though, this is a loaded wide receiver room on top of the prospects they have coming in, like a Zachariah Branch. I believe Makai Lemon is still committed to USC. Like, they've got some really good wide receivers coming in this 2023 class. I'd be very curious to see how exactly he fits in here. Going over to my Ohio State Buckeyes, Julian Fleming is really tracking and having a very good camp. Now, I don't really know what to think about this. We know that it's going to be the Marvin Harrison and JSN show, but Julian Fleming does bring a different aspect to this offense than any of the other wide receivers. I talked to Jaden Ballard in spring as he was having a really good spring, and surprise, surprise, Julian Fleming was dealing with an injury. Jaden Ballard, at the time, it seemed like he had passed him and become this deep threat, but Julian Fleming has come on, has been healthy so far through fall camp, and has apparently looked really good. My sources have said that he has looked amazing, and he's finally starting to look like the guy they thought they got when they recruited him a couple years ago. We'll see what this means. I do trust Brian Hartline and everything he's been able to do for the wide receiver position. Maybe he has been able to kind of help turn Julian Fleming around. I'm hesitant to really bet on that because he just hasn't shown us much. But he has been really impressing. And the people who have told me that, I truly do trust. So take that for what it's worth. Austin Nates talked about this on our quarterback ranking summit. Garrett Nussmeier seems to really be impressing down in the Bayou. The redshirt freshman has been really good. And while all three quarterbacks have been getting reps, it seems like Nussmeier has been the one who's been getting the first snaps with the offense and has just looked the best going against the defenses. Now, I've said recently on W Debate, I think Jaden Daniels would be an intriguing fit just because they brought Mike Denbrock down there from Cincinnati, who obviously has worked with Desmond Ridder and Evan Prater. We saw what Desmond Ridder was able to do, and I think Jaden Daniels kind of fits that mold. But I also agree with something Moxley said on there, that Mike Denbrock is not necessarily the greatest offensive coordinator. Garrett Nussmeier seems to be doing really good in fall camp, and I'll be very intrigued to see if he keeps this job or wins this job, especially after Jaden Daniels transferred there, all of us thinking he was going to be the guy. I really don't like talking about that team up north, but I will say the name once because it matters for this. The Michigan Wolverines have been pumping up 3-star C.J. Stokes, the running back. Jim Harbaugh has been very impressed with him throughout camp. He compares him to a younger, Blake Corum. We know that team up north is not afraid to use multiple running backs. Donovan Edwards is I expect to be very good this year, along with Blake Corum. And CJ Stokes looks like he could be the guy behind them. They've said he's looked really good and that you would not know that he's a freshman based on what he's been doing in camp. He's not a guy that I expect to be like massive for you this year, but he is a guy that I would take late and then see what happens, because we do know Jim Harbaugh's likely not leaving anytime soon. The one thing that they do a very good job of is running the ball. And we know Jim Harbaugh wants to run the ball. The fact that he's talking up CJ Stokes, I think, is a very interesting thing. Going over to North Carolina, Jacoby Criswell and Drake May continue to battle it out for the quarterback job. We talked a little bit about this on Devy Debate. I really think this is going to go into the season. I would not be surprised if even in week one, we're seeing these two guys both out on the field playing to see who the better quarterback is. I still believe it's going to be Drake May at the end of the day, but Jacoby Criswell is still a very good quarterback. And whether he stays or transfers out, I think he could be a starting quarterback in college, but it's definitely one to watch. It does seem like, I believe Mac Brown said that he will not announce the quarterback till the Monday press conference of the game week 0 against Florida A&M. So unless he says something or whispers something to someone and they break that story, like, we're not going to know for whatever that is now, 15 days. We're not going to know. 13 days. I don't know. I'm horrible at math. We're not going to know until that Monday before of week 0, which is coming up, who the actual starting quarterback is going to be. I'm still betting on Drake May, but again, I would not be surprised if both of them are out there in week 1 and playing. And my last little bit of news here, and I don't know that you necessarily want to trust these guys, but Skylar Bell, the young wide receiver, has had a massive, it was decent in spring camp, and apparently is having a very good fall camp here with the Wisconsin Badgers. Obviously, you have to expect Graham Mertz to help him out there. The wide receiver can only do so much. He does rely on his quarterback, but Skylar Bell is a guy that the Wisconsin Badgers camp and everything has been talking up, so he's a young guy to watch out for. Guys, I will try and be back on Wednesday and Thursday this week, as I will be going out of town to the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio, with all of most of the Campus to Canton crew. I'm excited to get up there and hang out with all of them. So if you guys are in the Ohio area, want to come by, say hi to all of us. It's going to be a great time. That being said, because of that, I will not have a camp report show on Friday because I will be in transit up to Ohio. So I'm going to try and do one on Wednesday and Thursday to try and cover all that. And then obviously we'll be back and hit it hard on Monday for everything I missed Friday and over the weekend. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Fall Camp Reports, and we will be back again tomorrow.